Yeah, I'm definitely excited. It was a long recovery process, kind of like the first one, but I worked my way back, and I'm just excited for this year. Yeah, it means a lot. I mean, actually, last year there was a lot of ups and downs in it. Having a committed group, a healthy group, an experienced group is going to make a huge difference.
I know it's been a busy 3 days in Charlotte through the ACC kickoff, Coach Hafley, but we greatly appreciate you doing this interview with CFB Nation.
I appreciate you having me on, man. I appreciate you covering us, and hopefully we'll see you more.
You've been coaching for 20 plus years, and it's been a long road from Worcester Poly to Boston College. What's one thing that drives you every morning for the past 20 years?
The players and what I owe to the players. You get into this thing to help change lives. You get into this thing to make them better football players, make them better people on and off the field. But I do this for the players, man. Everything that I got, they need every single day, every one of them. Whether it's help on the field, whether it's help off the field, they need to talk, pushing them academically to make sure they're going to class and getting their degree. I mean, this thing, when it's all said and done for me, I mean, I want these guys to, look back one day and say, Coach Hafley helped change my life, and that's why I'm at where I'm at. But that's what drives me, man.
Now, I know this seems to be the most difficult part of being a collegiate or an NFL coach, but how do you balance being a college head coach and a family man?
Well, it's hard to do, and I've seen it kind of ruin some families. You got to have a good one. You got to have a supportive wife, a wife who understands that once training camp starts, she's got the kids, and I probably won't see him maybe other than once every 5 or 6 days when we get an off day. A wife that's got to be okay when we have road trips, being on her own with the kids. A wife that, like I have, who married me when I was at Pitt, and the next year I moved her to New Jersey, and then the next year I moved her to Tampa, then I moved her to Ohio, then I moved her to California, then I moved her to Columbus, and then I moved her to Massachusetts and Boston. So you got to have a supportive wife. And the other thing that I've learned is when you're not in the office, you better be home with your wife and kids. I mean, it's not, let's go play golf for 8 hours with the guys on the staff. Let's go hang out somewhere and watch the game and get wings with the guys on the staff. The way I look at it is you can try to have 3 things: work, family, and social. The only way I know how to make it both work is you have 2 things. You got work and you got family. And sometimes you might lose some friends over it, right? Sometimes you might not have as much of a social life, but I do what I love. I'm around great people. I'm at a great institution, and I've got a great family.
Entering your 4th season at Boston College as the head coach, what is the vision for 2023 as you guys are now 2 years removed from any COVID restrictions?
Well, I think entering this year is probably as excited as I've been entering a camp. First 2 years. First year we had success, won more games in the ACC than they had since 2009. Second year, start off hot, get some injuries, go to a bowl game. Last year, entered kind of thin, and that got beat up probably more than any team physically with injuries than any team in the country. But now we got the production back. Now we got the line back, both lines back. We're healthy. We got guys excited. The culture's starting to be built. Now we need to take a step. These young players have been playing, and a lot of them are now juniors. We got some good seniors back. But there's a level of excitement. But I think the culture's strong. And I think when I say that is, we won 3 games last year, but we didn't lose our good young players. They didn't point fingers. They didn't stop playing hard. They kept getting better and competing. And then they went in the offseason, and they didn't complain. They just worked. And there's no more talking about that. It's just talking about the future and excitement and each other and how much they care about each other and holding people accountable themselves. And it's just so awesome to see right now. So we got to get into this camp, and we got to work. And we got to get better. And we don't need to talk about how many we're going to win or what. Let's just go play ball and show it. And play nasty and physical up front. And just compete and play harder than everybody we play against. And coach as best as we can. And then let's see what happens.
You mentioned injuries and everybody being healthy. Preseason 5 has offensive lineman Christian Mahogany as a possible first-round pick in the upcoming NFL draft. How impactful is it to the Eagles' offensive line to have a healthy Mahogany back anchoring that line?
it's not just impactful for the O-line. Christian Mahogany is impactful for the whole team. He's one of the best players in the country, and he's got a nastiness and a toughness to him that I think brings the whole team to a different level. And then you also look at, I mean, you want to talk about the line, which I felt like we've talked about all day. Kevin Klein tore his ACL. We thought Kevin was going to be a great player. He tore it in the second game. Kevin will be back to compete for a job, right? Jack Conley played every game last year. Jack will compete for a job. Logan Taylor's here. He was Virginia's starting tackle in every game and got better and better. And now he's in the mix at tackle. Ozzie Trapillo is, I mean, that guy's going to be a great one. Drew Kendall, freshman All-American. You bring in Kyle Hergel, who might be stronger than Mahogany and is nasty. Jude Bowery, who is extremely athletic, is now in position to compete for the tackle job. You get Dwayne Alec and Jackson Ness, who played all that football last year, so there's competition, there's depth, and what does that do? It makes the guy in front of him and behind him better. So there is excitement, man, and like I said, we got to stop talking about it. Let's go put the pads on and play.
We spoke briefly after the spring game about how the offense has a lot of new faces at key positions, especially the wide receiver room, with Zay Flowers moving on to the NFL and being drafted by the Baltimore Ravens. Guys like Joseph Griffin, Dino Tomlin, Lewis Bond, Taj, and new face Ryan O'Keefe. Is this an open competition right now, or has anybody emerged as wide receiver one?
I think you're going to see a lot of guys step up. Jaden Williams has got a chance, man, to be a really special player. He missed the last 6 games last year, had a really good first year and a half of his career. Joe Griffin showed flashes against Duke and the game-winning catch against NC State with his size and ability. Lewis Bond, he missed the last couple games. That guy, he stepped up in a few games. I think he could have a big year. Dino Tomlin had his coming-out party. And then here comes Ryan O'Keefe, who can fly. And then you mentioned Taji. Taji's another big body. I don't think you're going to see one guy touch the ball. I think you're going to see a lot of guys step up in different moments, and a lot of guys do different things. And I think we got to get creative and find ways to get guys on the field and to make sure this is a thing where we got a lot of different things where we can get people the ball.
Again, after the spring game, we spoke about Emmett taking over for Phil this year and how he's growing into that role. And it was also nice to see Jacoby Robinson early and often in the spring game. But since then, you've added UCF transfer Thomas Castellanos. Can you talk to us about Thomas Castellanos and what he brings to the QB room now and for the future?
Yeah, I'm excited to see Thomas play. I mean, Thomas played in 5 games last year on a good team and had success. I don't know if you guys watched his tape or not, but he can throw it, and he is athletic. And he's only a sophomore, but he's going to have his chance now. I mean, I want to go compete, and I want to do that at every position. So Thomas is going to get his shot. We've never seen what he can do live, and I'm really looking forward to it next week.
Let's talk about special teams real quick. The place kicker one position was wide open earlier in the spring between Connor Lutton, Liam Connor, and Mike Montanen. Has anybody emerged as PK1 since then?
Not yet. I want to go through camp. I know Liam and Connor are both battling. Connor, his rookie year, freshman year, was one of the best in the country. He made all but one field goal and hit some big ones. Liam's got a strong leg. We need whoever we get through camp is the most consistent guy. I'm going to play, and that's, to be very honest with you, that's all that it comes down to for me. I'm going to put the guy out there who gives us the best chance to make the kicks.
I know you got a lot of questions about expectations heading into 2023. But what would you merit as a successful season? Going bowling or bust?
We're not going to talk outside of our locker room, and this is what I've said today. We're not going to talk about expectations. We got to get through camp. I want to see what this team is made of in camp. I want to see how we come out in the first game, the second game, and then go from there. I like where we're at right now. I think we had a really successful offseason. I think we filled in some key pieces. We got some guys back healthy. But now we got to go play football, and that's what I'm most excited about right now.
I know you got 2 kids, and I ask everybody the same question to kind of end out every interview. What's the breakfast cereal 101?
The breakfast cereal that is always in my house is chocolate checks. I like the cinnamon too, but there's something about the milk turning into chocolate milk when you're done that reminds me of being a little kid.